Hey everyone, it's Mojaxx back in the DJcity UK lab. Today we're looking at the new JBL 104 monitors. Now the promise of these is that they are supposed to give you proper studio monitor performance, but in the form factor of something that you normally associate with regular desktop PC speakers. Do they live up to that promise? Let's find out. I have a lot of fond memories of small plastic JBL monitors. Back in the day, a buddy of mine had a pair of the passive control ones, and I used to love those things. The 104 is from a new generation altogether, of course, but after a few weeks of daily use, I found I got similar feelings from them. They come as a pair with all the amplification coming from the master speaker, and the second one is a passive slave, just connected by a regular speaker cable. Construction is mostly ABS plastic, with a sturdy metal grille across the whole front of each speaker, and feels solid, with no weird creaks or rattles in my testing period. The amp in the master speaker provides 60 watts of long-term power, 30 for each speaker, and there is more than enough there for near-field close-up monitoring. JBL's own specs put the output at 92 decibels continuous at a 1 meter distance, and I was getting more than that comfortably when sat at my desk, more like 50 centimeters away. They feature a coaxial woofer design, meaning that the 0.75-inch tweeter is in the center of the 4.5-inch woofer. Obviously, with woofers that small, bass is not going to be the forte of the 104s, but there is still a healthy amount of low end. Frequency response goes down to 60 Hz, and so although you won't be shaking the room with them, you don't feel like you're being shortchanged when it comes to hearing bass lines properly. The speakers are rear ported, which can sometimes be an issue with monitors designed to sit on a desk, often in front of a wall, but it seems like JBL have taken that into account with the design. I found the 104s to give a nice neutral sound across the board, certainly accurate enough for bedroom production and editing. There's no harshness or breakup until you absolutely max the speakers right out, which is obviously not recommended, and shouldn't be necessary in a near-field scenario. One big advantage of the coaxial layout is that it allows the monitors to be significantly smaller than those with separate woofers and tweeters. I swapped the 104s in place of my regular 5-inch monitors, and I was astonished at just how much space I got back on my desk. That, combined with the rock-solid build quality and low weight, means that the 104s can not only be squeezed into pretty much any setup, but they could well be useful in a mobile studio situation as well. Indeed, JBL seem to think so, as they've said a protective carry case is going to be made available for them, although I haven't found it online anywhere yet. If you were to take the 104s on your travels, they support worldwide voltage, and they have an internal power supply with the standard IEC C7 or figure 8 connector, which I always prefer over a wall wart. The 104s have an automatic standby mode which kicks in after not being used for a while, but it's not as onerous as with some other brands. It doesn't take a whole lot of volume to bring them back to life. In general, I prefer for that to be a manual option, but it's not a big issue. Other connections aren't left wanting either. On the rear of the master speaker you have both unbalanced RCA and balanced 1/4-inch jack inputs, and you can have both hooked up simultaneously, which is handy. On the front of the speaker you have an 1/8-inch aux input as well, although that one does override the 2 rear inputs. Round there you also have the illuminated volume knob and an 1/8-inch headphone socket, which cuts the speaker sound off when you plug your cans in. I did experience a bit of hum from the headphone output, which isn't present in the speakers themselves, but only in some setups, so I suspect that may be due to a ground loop issue in my house. My regular monitors are literally unusable without a ground loop isolator in the same situation. And there's no doubt that having an easily accessible headphone socket is a really handy feature to have, especially as the volume knob works for the headphones too, so if you're running from an audio interface with no volume control, you're good. So there you go, my take on the JBL 104 monitors. I've been really impressed by these, a lot more than I expected to be, considering the low price, $150 for the pair, and the small size of them. But yeah, they really are proper studio monitors. You've got great, nice, neutral, accurate sound. There is some low end in there. It's not going to shake a room, of course not. They're very small monitors. If you're a bass fiend, you're going to want bigger monitors or a subwoofer, something like that. But for a regular kind of desktop setup, mixing, monitoring, really, these are a great choice. Also, that small form factor is a real bonus in some ways. You can fit them in anywhere on a desk. If you're DJing at home, you haven't got room for a big pair of monitors in your setup, you can kind of squeeze these in anywhere you like. And the sweet spot is nice and wide, so you don't have to be too accurate with how you position them as well to get good sound. The other thing is they're very portable. This is the heavier one of the two. It's got the amp in it, still nice and light. Solid construction is going to take a beating. So if you're traveling around, you're recording or doing like radio mixes on a regular basis in hotel rooms, these would be a great choice for that as well. International power supply there too. So for 150 bucks a pair, I think these are quite astonishing value. They really are well put together. Great sound for that kind of money. Very, very impressive hardware indeed, and thoroughly recommended. Thank you for watching today. Make sure you subscribe and you hit that bell icon down below to get notified anytime there's a new video from myself or the rest of the DJ City team. I'll see you soon.